It's very powerful sound because it works also when your target audience is not really paying attention or not even watching. So imagine when you listen to a podcast or the radio. So these are all moments where your visual branding cannot work. And the thing is, sound and music work very well in a low, where the involvement is very low. So maybe while I'm cooking, I don't pay attention to what's happening in the background on the TV, but my brain processes this information. So it's still receptive to sound. And it's a good opportunity for brands to use their sonic identity because the sound is connected to memory. So if I hear an audio logo 3 times, 5 times, so this experience is built on each other. So the 5th time I hear it, I already processed this information 4 times. So it's not like I'm hearing it every time like the first time. And if it's associated with the brand, I already have a familiarity with the brand that I wouldn't have if they didn't use this audio logo, or if they didn't use their brand music or a music that is tied to their brand identity. So it's a bit of a missing out because you can really enhance the brand recall with a small effort.
All right. Welcome to today's VidTao Podcast. This is Ian Naj, co-founder of VidTao. And today we have Mr. Max Micozzi Svendsen. Max is the founder of MMS Audio Branding. So they are a boutique audio branding agency specializing in audio branding services. So custom sound design for brands, audio logos, sound design for video advertising, apps, etc. And, audio is something that's really interesting because a lot of times as more performance marketing focused advertisers, we're typically thinking about what is said or what's on the screen while a video advertisement is playing. But what we often don't consider is how important sound is. And especially for YouTube, which is, as we know, a sound on platform. So Max is going to tell a lot about his story, how he came into this space, and really a lot about the audio branding strategies and sound design strategies he's used to work with companies like Adidas, Nike, Mercedes-Benz, Tommy Hilfiger, T-Mobile, Red Bull, huge companies that he does stuff for. So super interesting and definitely a different topic than we usually cover. So looking forward to sharing this episode with you. So without further ado, let's dive in.
This podcast is brought to you by VidTao.com. VidTao is our free YouTube ad library and spy tool, research tool. It's VidTao.com. At VidTao, we have close to 1 million unlisted YouTube video ads that you can search, find, discover how they're doing on a day-by-day basis. So you can really see what ads your competitors are running, see ads in different markets that you can model to create new winning ads for yourself, and a whole lot more. It's all there inside VidTao.com. Plus, we have a premium edition. So the database is free to access, but then we also have a premium edition where you have full unlimited access to the database. And inside there, we also provide training. So we also run an agency called Inceptly. That's INCEPTLY, Inceptly.com, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. It's a video traffic agency, and we've worked with everyone from brands like Descript.com, Huel, to real scrappy direct response, info products, supplements, health, beauty, e-commerce, you name it, we've done it, and love sharing what we've learned. Every week we drop new training in there, everything from YouTube ad media buying to running e-commerce creatives on YouTube to hardcore tracking and attribution tutorials to really level up your data science game for advertising and everything in between. Right now, as we speak, we're working on a training regarding YouTube Shorts. Hopefully we'll be live by the time you hear this. On and on and on. This is our passion, is video advertising, and we want to share it with you inside of VidTao Premium. And actually right now, for a limited time, you can get access to VidTao Premium for a very special price. So if you go to VidTao.com, sign up for free, check out the database, upgrade to Premium for this very special price, you'll get access to all of the database and all the trainings. And also wanted to add that at Inceptly, we do free brainstorm calls with clients like you. So If you ever want to get help or ask questions about your YouTube ads, your video traffic on other platforms, we're available to chat. Just go to inceptly.com/call, CALL, and set up a time to chat. It's free and would love to speak with you. Our team's waiting to speak with you. So without further ado, let's get into the show.
Hey, Max, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How about you?
Awesome. Fantastic. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me on a call. I just excited to chat about what you're doing at MMS and just specifically, in terms of audio, because obviously companies are looking to you to help them really nail their audio and how important that is to good ads on the branding side, on the performance marketing side, how you got into this space and some of the things that you see, some of the key elements that you see work for your clients, and kind of how you approach thinking about sound, both as, a branding component, sound design, and just everything that you do. I'd love to hear more about it because it's something that a lot of people, I don't think, really focus on, but it does make such a huge difference.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm very glad. Very excited to have our chat. And how it started for me, it was it started partially while playing cover bands in my room, punk covers, but actually. The working for brands, music for brands, and composing specifically for brands. It started not at the beginning. When I finished my bachelor, I finished it was politics, and I realized, okay, I don't want to keep doing something that I'm not passionate about. So I said it must be music and sound. So I started. See what can I do? And it turns out you can actually do a lot with sound, so audio post-production, mixing. And so I started doing everything that came my way. And in parallel, I studied different courses in composition. And one day I took this course specifically on audio branding, and I had no idea what it was. And I realized that first of all, it made completely sense what they were explaining, and this way to use music. And I was so fascinated that then afterwards I started studying every book I found, contacting people doing it, so getting tips from the pros, and that's how I started. Really going into the path of music and sound specifically for brands. Before I was doing really almost everything, producing other artists, post-production, composing for videos. And so this was a bit the revelation and how I started doing it. And now, I began by working, collaborating with other agencies and, as a guest composer or helping on a strategy, but not at the beginning. At the beginning, it started with advertising, music for advertising. So the first steps were with really working with brands were one-shot projects, and but I always had this audio branding, and so I researched the brand for whom I was doing this music, and tried to kind of bring in this branding side with the sound. So from the beginning.
That's really cool. So would that include audio branding would include things like the Intel Inside little 2-second song, that kind of thing. Is that what audio branding would include?
Also that would be like the audio logo. No, it's a sonic asset, because audio branding, it's a process that aims to maximize the brand's communication and marketing strategy. So it's to support and complement visual branding and also long-term and short-term marketing goals. This sonic asset, the audio logo, is one of many that can be created and composed, represents the essence of the brand. So all the core qualities, personality, and values, the brand message somehow are distilled in this 3 to 5 seconds maximum. It has to be short and memorable. And of course, there are it's like, it's very important. It's something easy to remember, the audio logo, but there are other assets like the brand music, where the storytelling of the brand is stronger, or let's say more clear to hear. But yeah, in the audio logo, you basically have the essence of the brand identity. Yeah.
So so you've obviously, this is something that you specialized in, and that very big brands come to you for. And what is it that you would say that you focus on uniquely that really is giving these brands the results that they're looking for? Like, what do you think makes the difference?
Well, I don't know. So I've been working. Before I started offering the audio branding, I developed my own process, the audio framework. But before, I worked with many different agencies and worked on a lot of audio branding projects. And I saw what really works well, and things that I thought that maybe could be improved or simply could be approached differently. So I spent about 1.5 years with the fine tuning and everything to develop this process. It's a strategy blueprint on how to develop a sonic identity for a brand. So, and what I think it's really successful or good about it, it's that it allows to take into consideration all the possible branding and marketing needs of the client. So because sometimes the client comes and has a vague idea of what they need, or maybe an audio logo and one track for certain purposes, but there are a lot of things that maybe they're not thinking about it, because that's why they go to someone to do this. It's so having this how to connect all the channels on and make this sonic experience of the brand like universal in their whole universe, so that everything is connected and all the different channels work with each other somehow, even differently, because then you develop guidelines for specific contexts or different channels, but they all are interlinked by this common elements, and that in the sound and in the certain techniques, so they make the whole experience whole. And I think through this audio framework, managed to tackle this very well, to unify all the needs of the brand in an easy way and an effective way.
Got it. So is there, what can you share about your blueprint? So a brand comes to you and maybe you haven't had been in contact with them before, or don't know who they are, what they do. How do you go from that first contact to really digging in and developing this whole audio branding, just like you said, crafting this whole universe? What are the steps in between from that first contact to actually coming up with this?
Yeah, there's a lot of research also to do because you have to research, and also in cases of very big brands with a lot of content, and also politely asking for all the material they have online, because it's difficult, especially if they're global. To have everything, to know everything, but to analyze everything, but with a specific approach. So see how the phone music in the phone works. So is there, for instance, I don't know, they have different voices and different music. Maybe it's call for a specific reason, so they have another kind of music that comes. So working really on to make also for their customers the experience more pleasant. So trying to see, okay, do they have a shop? It's a physical shop. So how do we tackle this? And through the audio framework, we have already every brand is different, and so it's a very dynamic and agile process. But that we know already how can we tackle all the different needs, and it took time. And after, when I thought it was finished, doing some tests on smaller projects and also demo projects, and so always going back, fine tune. Okay, maybe missed here, edit, adjust. So and at one point I realized, okay, it's there, it's good. It's I don't know. We introduce new technologies maybe or new tools that simplify the work and make it more easier for the client, but the core system is there. Yeah.
Got it. So yes, I'm just curious, what are you, what's your starting point? I can't imagine such a intangible thing, right? Like like if a brand comes to you with no audio identity, right?
Yeah.
Like what do you, and they obviously they probably do not want to sound anything like their near competitors. They want to be different. So I'm just curious, how do you actually start to come up with concepts, and then what's the feedback cycle like, coming up with those things and then communicating with the decision makers of the brand to really co-create whatever the final output might be?
Yeah. So first there is the first workshop. No, first, okay, the contact of the brands to try to understand, like in a basic way, what they're looking for. What's the idea is something, because sometimes it's enough to have some guidelines, basic, and it doesn't have to be too complicated. It's there. They don't have a lot of content, or they want to do it peu à peu, so not everything at once. But to understand first what is the goal of this audio branding project for you? What are you trying to achieve? And then we do a bit of research and see, okay, on their channels, and then we discuss all the possible sonic assets that we can develop. We do a workshop where we decide, okay, we will need this and this and this, so many tracks, maybe audio logo, brand music, then intro and outro for podcasts, and guidelines for specific channels. So on Instagram, our visual branding and the videos are more fresh, maybe, so the music has to also reflect this, but it still has to sound like the brand. It cannot be something completely random. So we do these guidelines for this. So we define the scope of the project, and then we start developing concepts. It's not we compose one logo and that's it. No, we develop concept for each logo, for the tracks, for everything. Yeah. And then there are feedback loops, and it's not a process. It doesn't take 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's also because this was something I realized sometimes when we're talking to brand managers, marketing managers who were interested, said, yeah, but we cannot allocate time to this because it is and it takes some time. It's like it is okay. Most work is not done by the client, but as you said, there are feedbacks, and you have to communicate to achieve also the goal. So I said we cannot allocate time, but yeah, I'm talking now. It seems like, okay, you don't want to do these projects. No, but we do, because since it's not tied to a deadline. So the projects go a bit slower, maybe, because we work around the schedule of our clients. Because of course, if you have Black Friday has to be, the campaign has to be released end of November. You can't do Black Friday in February. Right. So of course, so for us, so we stop the project, we can pause it and keep doing it later. So it is a longer project, and it takes time to do it properly. But it's project that if the audio logo is done 1 month later, it won't bankrupt our client, because they didn't have it before. So 1 month, 2 months more. So yeah.
Interesting. So at what point does a company typically want to create their first audio logo, let's say? At what point are they starting to think about planting that flag in terms of brand?
You mean from first contact to starting the project? I
mean, so let's say, you have a company, and let's say like Amazon, for instance, right? So he starts out with Jeff Bezos selling books out of his garage. And then, you have like, maybe fast forward a few years, and he has 100, 200 employees. And then, they become a certain level of company. I'm just wondering, like, we have a company and we don't have an audio logo, right? And maybe it wouldn't make sense because we're not on broadcast media as much as, like a traditional brand would be. I'm just wondering, like, what the thought process, because obviously it is important, because if I'm, as we're talking here, I'm thinking about all the audio logos, like think about PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just pops in your head.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the circumstances of these companies when they come to you, when they're really starting to think about this level of detail around the brand, because it's beyond like, oh, here's our color scheme, here's our branding guide. It's next level. I'm just curious if you have any insight on, these folks who are doing the branding or responsible for making these decisions, when they start to think about, okay, it's time for us to tackle our audio branding and establish an audio identity, an audio logo. Just curious if the companies who you've worked with, let's say earlier stage companies who start to think about audio branding, I'm just curious what the circumstances are.
Yes. I think because there is about this, there is a bit of a misconception that in general, that audio branding, you need it. I don't know, if you are big and huge company, and it's actually not true. I think the best moment would be ideally when you do your visual branding, because then they are really connected with each other. So having the branding agency and the audio branding agency working together and building from the ground up, visuals and sonic side working together. But this is an ideal thing. So when it starts, it really depends from brand to brand. But I think they all realize it later, or they manage to start the project later. And I think it's for the reason also I mentioned that the idea, because branding teams, marketing teams are extremely busy. They have schedules that they need to follow all the time. So for them, the idea of starting a new project in audio branding of audio branding would be, I don't know, the idea could be haunting. So maybe I think so. They do it as late as possible. I have this impression when I see you that it's okay. We will do it one day, but it's not now. Mm-hmm. So because it has this, there is this feeling of many that it's a nice to have, but not a priority. Mm-hmm. Which I disagree with, not because I sell this, but also because we are in a market. Every market is super crowded, and everybody has a visual identity, obviously. Mm-hmm. And everybody uses sound, but very few use it strategically. So this is an avenue that very few are using, and it's you start working on a extra level. You use a new sense of that works also it's very powerful sound because it works also when your target audience is not really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, or not even watching. So imagine when you listen to a podcast or, I don't know, or the radio. So these are all moments where your visual branding cannot work. And the thing is, sound and music work very well in a low, where the involvement is very low. So maybe while I'm cooking, I don't pay attention to what's happening in the background on the TV. But my brain processes this information. So it's still receptive to sound. And it's a good opportunity for brands to use their sonic identity consistently, because if, for instance, I hear, because the sound is connected to memory. So if I hear an audio logo 3 times, 5 times, so this experience is built on each other. So the 5th time I hear it, I already processed this information 4 times. So it's not like I'm hearing it every time like the first time. And if it's associated with the brand, because it's the audio logo of the brand, so it is associated. So I already have a familiarity with the brand that I wouldn't have if they didn't use this audio logo, or if they didn't use their brand music, or a music that is tied to their brand identity. So it's a bit of a missing out, because you can really enhance the brand recall with a small effort, like because it's not an invasive way. You're not bombing them with information. Your target audience, they're processing this subconsciously a bit. So it's also nuanced. It's not a guerrilla marketing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think the context that I come from in this case is, so we have a YouTube ad agency. So we do a lot of video advertising, and YouTube is really interesting because it is a sound on environment, whereas Facebook it's not, typically you're muted. YouTube, you have the sound on. And also, it's almost, I think this is my hypothesis at least, is that there is, when you have, even in setting aside audio branding, if you look at sound design, right, which I know is something else that you are heavily involved in for advertising, our best practice is always to include sound in the ad, like basically like little dopamine hits that you get. It's almost like if you're playing those games, with the little jewels and things like that. What's the name? It's that big game. I don't play it, but it's a mobile game. It's a puzzle game basically, and every time you get.
It's Candy Crush? No.
Yes, Candy Crush. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So you have these sort of like really addicting sounds that take place when you play a game like that, and they're clearly part of triggering that dopamine hit from seeing the colors flash on the screen, hearing it, and the phone vibrates a little bit. And so we try to capture that when we do ads to kind of maintain the viewers' attention as they go through the ad. So even on that basic level, it's, I really can resonate with what you're saying. And then the audio branding component that's really interesting, how you're really stamping that sound in a unique way so that there is that recall there. So yeah, it definitely resonates. I'm just curious, when it comes to sound design, building custom sounds for video ads, what's your philosophy around that? And also on apps and everything else, and what's your sort of philosophy around user experience, whether it's a advertisement viewer as a user or an app user as a viewer? I'm just curious how you approach that.
Well, if it's an app user, it will be obviously linked with the on-screen also and not only, also other things might happen. So the sound design also for other things happening, but the ones that really important are the ones where I push something or I go on something. And this is also something that if a brand has an app, why not use pieces of your sound logo? It's so, but my philosophy, sorry. Well, I try to record things, layer them. Also weird things that might not. It also depends on the timeline and everything. But to play around, like transform, I don't know, a hit on a whiteboard into some kind of percussive instrument with a sub bass, I don't know, and create, or I don't know, recorded once my coffee machine and because when you make the cycling of the calc cycle, at one point it has an amazing sound. So I recorded this and used it to create the gun sounds, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, taking a bit of the world around you and then mix it with other things. Yeah.
That's super cool. What I'm curious too, you do a lot of sound design for branded events and sort of spaces where people might exist for for an advertising purpose or just a brand building purpose. And I know metaverse is a hot topic, has been a hot topic this year, and I'm wondering, everyone focuses on the visual aspect of the metaverse. What are your thoughts on incorporating the audio element of virtual reality? How does audio play into that? And just curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it could be very interesting because if you can recreate like a binaural experience where you perceive sounds coming from behind, above, and it can be very, very interesting and exciting. I did some project with some binaural experiences. It didn't have anything to do with the metaverse, but it was very interesting to do this for specific purposes where the sounds were moving in a certain way, and it's fun, and I think it enhances the experience. So yeah, for the metaverse, I'm not very I don't know too much about this virtual world to give a estimate on how it would sound soon, but I think it could be very immersive and fun. Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just math, probably, right? Just there's some kind of algorithm that will all the sound goes into our ears. So I imagine there's just some way of simulating having something happen immediately behind you or in front of you, or just where you are in space relative to the sound.
Yes, I'm just not sure how it can be implemented, because I'm about this. I don't know much about, because there are tools and software or specific headphones that can that allow to do this, but I don't know how it would like in a virtual world, how that would be interesting. I will check if it already exists.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's I imagine it must be difficult having conversations with decision makers when you have, let's say you come up with these first concepts and you're presenting them to these folks. What is your, just as a creator and as a advertising experience creator, really, I'm just curious how you deal with stating your why behind, here's why I came up with this one, or here's why out of these 4 concepts, here's why this is my favorite, and this is why I think you should go with this one. I'm just really curious about how you approach making the case in the midst of the creative process with these decision makers.
Yes. I approach this because for them, for most people, it's they hear something and they have emotion, something that with the music. So I don't know. Let's say with the client we are trying to highlight specific qualities, sounding modern, being high end. I don't know, trustworthy and or I don't know, green. Mm-hmm. So there are techniques that you can to highlight all different things. So certain instrumentation, the tempo, you work with different things, and for them, but the client doesn't know this, of course. So they will tell me concept 3 feels this, or maybe, and concept 4 we think they work well, and then I tell them, okay, I think concept 4 works better because through the usage of this piano mixed in this way with this sound, like comes the intimate side out, and using this string quartet, we also keep highlighting this humane thing, and so I give them a technical explanation of why I came up with this solution, with this concept, and I normally give them this information immediately after, so that they can also see it first, but I want them to listen to it and have a honest reaction to it without being having this spoiler of why. Because maybe it can also be that someone that, I don't know, these elements should work like this, but not good as the others. So it's good to have also this immediate impact without a pre idea of why it should work.
That makes sense. I'm just curious too. You mentioned how these elements, these tangible elements combined, create a real intangible, just a feeling like high end, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there some kind of dictionary or formula for this, or is this more something that you've developed by being really in tune with how these different sounds affect someone's emotional state or perception of whatever is being presented?
There is also some literature on this, not specific to audio branding also, but other literature, and there are some techniques you can also find in the film scoring, scoring domain, and yes, and others are I came up with, and seeing working on projects, I tried things and realized, okay, this works very well in these situations. And there are also some things that are immediate. I don't know, for instance, a warm and voice of a woman feels always soothing, like and the real. Yeah, it could be because it reminds of, I don't know, the own mother, but it was like a calming, it's more calming and more soothing mostly than a male voice. Of course, it has to be a voice that is soothing, but and you will always get this effect probably with a specific voice spoken in a certain way. Okay, this has to be a soothing campaign. We use this voice. There's we can't go wrong there. Or I don't know. Yeah, there are so many. But if you you can do beautiful things also working on the demographics. If you have a global brand, you can adapt it with instruments from different continents for when you are targeting the target audiences, maybe in Asia, and then in Asia you can say, okay, we're making a campaign in Japan, so let's introduce this to. So there are a lot of things you can do also that are not global, but just also local.
That makes sense. That's really cool. Are you at all leveraging AI for any of this stuff? Like, I know we had a conversation with one of the founders of Synthesia.io, which is they do these really pretty incredible synthetic voice and like face. You can basically type whatever your script in, and then someone's voice has been recreated, and it's not like one of those robot AI voiceovers. It's more of like it's more human in a lot of ways. It's pretty incredible. I'm just curious if you see any use case for any AI based tools in what it is that you do, or if you're using stuff already.
No, because I heard music completely created by AI, and I must say it's not bad.
Really? Okay.
For being made completely by like a computer without I don't know. It's incredible it still doesn't arrive for me at the same emotive, because it lacks this emotional approach, because music is of course a note, so you could say it's mathematics in the end, because it's numbers and so it's everything is mathematics, but most composers don't think about it as math. So I feel that lacks this emotional intelligence of also creating, because you can make the other. They're very good in the sense of theory and harmony, and they sound good, but they lack also this drama. And I'm not saying drama like the film score where it's a dramatic scene, but this dynamic that you place maybe a small pause, just that it's mathematically maybe not even so meaningful, but in that point it works great, because you know that it will have a wow effect. Because you say, okay, I did all this before, and then I'm insert this pause, so it will have this effect. But it's a feeling, it's not a rule. So you work with the emotions, because and while you compose the music, you realize, okay, here I'm missing this emotion, or I'm working towards this emotion in this point, but the way to this release or this drop or whatever you're trying to achieve, this wow moment, you have to find a way to make it perfect, or how you imagine it. And I don't think AI is capable of doing this yet.
Yeah.
But one cool thing I could imagine is that related to audio branding, that maybe we composed a catalog for the brand and of music, and then we can recreate variations of this with a minimal hassle, and that has same instrumentation, uses the same melody, but very simple things. I could imagine this could work. I don't know if there is something like this right now. I know of amazing tools that help you filter music perfectly. So you give a reference track and give some attributes, and they search a huge catalog and give you the nearest hits. So I don't know if this thing combined with AI could create something like this. I don't know if it's very good that they create something like this. We could be out of a job.
You have to create it. You have to create it
then. No, but I think this emotional component will not be achieved. I mean, at least I hope.
Yeah.
But I think for, I don't know, maybe an Instagram video, 15 seconds, you want a quick variation of your brand music, why not?
Yeah.
But it could be possible, I think, to and also a useful tool, also for the brands. So they have their guidelines, their library of music that they can use, but they have then the possibility to adapt it in a quick way and have a variation of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting looking at those AI image creation tools,
Yes.
and so you could think about it where, just like you're saying, oh, I want to have a high end, I want to make a 3-second audio logo for a high end kitchen manufacturer from Switzerland, and then just like you can do this with the image creation tool, where you'll say like, I want to have a picture of a chimp on the moon in the style of Matisse, impressionist, right? Or whatever, and they'll do it. I imagine it's, the elements are similarly complex for music as they might be for, visual media. So, that's really interesting.
Yes, I tried, and I was also amazed by the results. But in the end, I wanted to have one specific thing, and I didn't manage to get that like I wanted. But I got amazing results, just not what I was looking for. But I think that because music also, if you do it for video, it really has to drive the video, to go with the video, to follow the story. So I think for that area, it could be more difficult.
Yeah, true. Until they
do.
Until they connect that together. Yeah. That's crazy. It's strange times we're living in. But well, I mean, it sounds like you really enjoy your work, which is fantastic. You're really yeah. I mean, it's neat that you're making these custom sounds and then morphing them into whatever they might need to be. What sort of sound design and production tools do you use in your process for making music and doing the sound design and everything else?
Oof, so many.
A lot.
So many. Probably 80% of the things, you start collecting things you might not need. But okay. But let's say the main DAW, so the main software, it's Cubase.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah.
And it's my so without Cubase, nothing would happen. Of course, I could use another software, but so it's the core where everything gets then processed and developed.
That's
and
cool.
Other tools, but it's so many. I don't even have a I don't know. I like to mix different elements, or a bit of synthesis, analog stuff with recordings, and throw in a guitar. I don't know. It's played as a guitar. It sounds then like a synthesizer, and see what works. In the end, what works is right.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And where can people find out more about everything that you do and get in touch when they want to talk about, sound design, audio branding, audio identity, custom music, all these things that you do?
Yeah, and on MMSAudioBranding.com.
Nice.
It's the website, and they can get in touch there and see what we do.
Awesome. And what else would you want people to know about you that we haven't already discussed?
About me personally, I don't know, because before doing audio, I mentioned I was studying politics, and before my life has always been all about music, even though I was studying politics, and I think that there's nothing that mattered to me that much. But since I was a small kid, it has always been my passion. Try to play a bit of piano. It wasn't mine. So when I was a kid, regretfully, because now I'm not the best pianist, but okay. And so I played the guitar, and Unfortunately, I never realized when I was a teenager or before I started going to university that I could actually do so many things with sound and music. So I took another path, which was fine. And until I did realize it's nothing else matters, citing Metallica.
Yeah.
So I did. So yeah, I don't know. What I'm trying to say, it's what I do is always been what I wanted to do. Not this because I didn't know it existed, but it's where my passion brought me, and happy about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Max. Well, super interesting diving into your world of audio branding and all these things that, before we start talking about them, they might go overlooked by a lot of people, a lot of advertisers even. But then when you start to really think about it, you realize just how important it is and just how many really perceptions and judgments we form based on how something sounds. And so I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge here. And it's been awesome to chat.
Thank you very much. No, thank you. It was fun.
Awesome, Max. Well, thanks again, and try to stay warm over there. It's gonna be
cold. It's gonna be tough, but I will try.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of VidTao Podcast. Again, my name is Ian Naj, co-founder of VidTao, and really appreciate you having a listen. And it means a lot. So if you have any feedback, go ahead and email us at info@vidtao.com. Love to hear your ideas for future shows, future guests. If you want to be a guest, let us know. Love to chat. Also, just as a reminder, this show has been sponsored by VidTao, which is our free YouTube ad library. VidTao.com. Again, you can go to VidTao and look up over 1 million ads at this point inside of VidTao. They're all unlisted YouTube ads. You can see what your competitors are running, track the results on a day-by-day basis, find new ads inside of our YouTube ad library, VidTao. And we also have a premium edition of VidTao. So the library is free to access, but for full unlimited access to the library, we have a premium edition of VidTao. We also have training from our Inceptly.com agency, which is our sister company to VidTao, where we've managed over $150 million on YouTube. We provide training on media buying, creatives, tracking, copywriting, everything in between. It's all there inside of VidTao Premium. And right now we're running a very special deal on VidTao Premium. And you can go claim that right now at vidtao.com. When you sign up for free, you'll see the offer to join Premium, and go there and check that out. And last thing, we also do free brainstorm calls with our agency Inceptly. Go to inceptly.com/call. And we love brainstorming with you on your video advertising and just marketing in general. Love to chat. So inceptly.com/call, CALL. Would love to speak with you. So thanks again for joining us, and looking forward to the next show. In the meantime, have a great week.